Box cutters inside my backpack. I had to stash that between my grammar school and my home. I can get slashed at. Didn't want the risk of being cut or jumped or even laughed at. See, pride is everything in the hood. I had to have that and protect it by any means with all my effort. Refused to be selected to fulfill somebody's death wish. And though I felt threatened, couldn't let the hood smell it. See, even as a youngin' knew I'd be the devil's breakfast, but I kept my progressive near the ankles. Bible scripture in my wallet, calling out to angels. The city streets are talking, singing.
Why is the third installment of My Life in Music called Revelation?
I'm gonna keep it 100. It was because of the health issues, and just discovering that it's been a nerve issue in my brain this whole time. I mean, I still had some stomach issues, but the nerve issue was really, really bad, and it was something in my brain. It was something in my brain, and it was revealed to me, like right when I was making this album, you know, like it was revealed to me, and also I was just revealing some other things that I may not have touched on the other two, like different childhood traumas and stuff like that. I mean, of course, I talk about my childhood a lot, but you know, I went into some things on this one. You know, just talking about different acts of violence that I seen that kind of shaped me. If you and just I just felt like I was being revealed. So it wasn't really like a revelation to the audience. It was more like things that was revealed to me during this time. So that's why the title was Revelation.
I want to go back to the brain thing, man. Is that where does that stem from? Is it something that can be fixed? What's
Okay, so let's get into it. So we about to get real medically technical for a second. So
okay?
during the so right after LP Loan came out, right? I had a surgery where they had to remove a device from my esophagus that they thought was causing the throat pain, right? And it was bad, but it got worse after they removed the device. I think around January 21, the date of the insurrection. It was like a day before. I started feeling the worst pain of my life. I mean, the worst. And I didn't understand it, right? Like I was just like, yo, why is it this bad? Went to go see the esophageal specialist who had this thing removed. They did more tests on me, and they like everything looks normal. And my primary care doctor, who I'm thankful for, he was like, something ain't right. He's like, you feel pain whenever like air hits your throat. So it was the wintertime. So if I was in a car and the heat was going on, I felt this intense pain on the right side of my throat. Whenever I talked, there was pain on the right side of my throat. And it was like intense. It wasn't like, oh man, it's a sore throat. No, this shit was burning like crazy. So I had to keep my mouth shut and stay away from any type of dry air coming my way. And he was just like, man, this is weird. It's predominantly on the right. So he sent me to the pain center, and he didn't want to say, but he sent me under this medical term called glossopharyngeal neuralgia. So in the section of your brain, you might be able to see my scar, you may not, but there's a nerve. It's at the bottom of your brain, and it controls like the sensation and the motor. Part of it is the sensation, and part of it is motor. You can feel the nerve, any type of sensation in your throat and in your ear. And I was also having ear pain. So it was definitely a sense of neuralgia. They sent me to the pain doctor. Unfortunately, this pain doctor really couldn't do much. Found out he didn't really know what he was doing. Not that he was a bad doctor. It's just that you got to really know your nerves, and the head and neck is like a special situation. That's not his thing. His thing was more like back nerves, sciatica, things like that. He couldn't find nothing. So we had to go to a surgeon. And he was like, yo, the only way we can find out is if we go back there. He's like, I can give you a CAT scan. It may or may not show anything. But we may need to go inside your brain and, you know, move some things around. So while all this is happening, I'm finishing this album, right? I didn't really, I'm gonna be honest, I quit rapping because the pain was that intense. I didn't think I can do it. I didn't think I can do it. But for my livelihood, I have to talk. So I was put on steroids. So from January all the way to August, I was on steroids, which is why I gained some weight. But thank God I'm not, Heavy D or Notorious B.I.G. big. You know what I mean? I ain't get fat big, but I definitely gained some weight. You can see it in my face. And that kind of helped the pain be tolerable. So, I mean, that's pretty much the whole thing with the brain surgery. And I think I finished this album like 2 days before my surgery. Like literally 2 days. 2 days. So if I know we want to focus on the surgery, but I feel like talking about the album and the time of the surgery, it makes more sense, right? Like I had a nice chunk of this album done with LB Long. Like I was working on 3 albums in 2020. So I had 2.5 albums done. I got another one coming soon. We can talk about that in a minute. But when this pain started happening, it was a wrap. I'm like, oh, hell no, I'm done. You know what I mean? I'm done. And of course, that was depressing. But with the steroid, I noticed when I'm doing my regular work, I'm like, all right, this pain is tolerable. And I owe Mike Logic and my friend Lester J a feature. And I promised them I'd get them that feature no matter what. So Mike Logic sent me a beat, no vocals, no nothing, which ended up being a song with his album. So I ended up doing a verse. He ain't had no verses or nothing. And I just sent it to him, did Lester verse, and I'm like, okay, this isn't so bad. So I ended up literally finishing his album before the surgery. I was telling everybody, all the engineers, all the producers, we got to get it done. We got to get it done. And yeah, the last song on the album, I said a lyric, seeing all the doctors, brain surgery, they recommend, I wish I had my lyrics in front of me, but I said it like, yo, this shit's scary. So I went in there and did the brain surgery. Yep.
Oh, you feel better?
No. No. So let me tell you, this is the crazy part. I felt better for 5 days and then my pain came back. But I will say this, I feel better now. You can say I do feel better, but it didn't completely resolve everything, right? Like if you asked for this interview in January, I would have said no. But there's different techniques I've been using. First of all, my anxiety gotta be like, it gotta be in the hole. I cannot be anxious because that trick is it. I gotta work out. I have to get good sleep. If I don't sleep, I'm in pain. And it's like crippling pain. And then sometimes I use Ludens, but it has to be those. And it has to be the honey or the cherry, but mostly the honey, because sometimes the cherry burns. And I can get through for like an hour or so. But I also think I'm a lot more calm because I finally found a doctor. Actually, I didn't find him. My primary care doctor knew him, but it was just getting to him, which was the problem. And he specializes in head and neck nerves. So he's like super supportive. Of course, we can't do what we need to do as far as, diagnostic and medical procedures because of COVID. But to have a medical team that support me, you know what I mean? It means a lot. It means a lot. And it does calm you down. It does. And when I say like support, I can call them on the phone, be like, yo, I'm in pain, man. Talk me through this. And they like, you're gonna get through it. And also I just think of God, man. Like I become super spiritual, like way more spiritual after during the making and after this album. And that's what's really gotten me through. And getting me through. I should say getting me through. So
that you were wrestling with some things and spiritual on the album.
Yeah, yeah. I was hoping somebody peeped that.
I did. I noticed on the song Revelation, like you sound like a person who's hit rock bottom, and you even question if God is giving you lessons or confusion.
Yeah. I'm so happy you picking that out. I'm really am.
I mean, it was right there. Did being in like such a down state cause you to doubt your faith or your religion that you practice?
All the time. And that song was it. Like the hook, I'm saying love is a game, don't want to play. Whole lot of pain, whole lot of something. I don't even remember my own lyrics, right? But I felt like, yo, God playing with me, man. Like, why are you playing with me, right? Like, it's like you love me, but you keep letting shit happen, And it's weird. And I tell certain people, like, literally after I drop an album, something happens health-wise, and it knocks me out. So people be like, yo, KA, why you don't promote this and this and that after you drop an album? Because I'm in the hospital. Like, it's been like that for my last 4 albums. This is the one time I'm still going through some health things, but I did so much before the album came out, like videos and all this stuff, just in case something happened to me. You know what I mean? But I in that song, I really felt like God was playing with me, like for real. And my godfather's a pastor. My godfather's the guy praying at the end of the album. I'm so fortunate to have him in my life. But I told him, I'm like, yo, God loved me, but I don't think he liked me. Like I used to say that, and it sounds funny, but it's true. I used to really feel like God don't like me. And there's certain childhood traumas that made me feel that way. Instead of understanding that things in life just happen, like, and struggling to accept that, I just felt like because of my sins or something that I did caused these things to happen. And that's from things that I misunderstood growing up in the church, right? And these are things that it's so weird. I know we talking about this album, but it's going into what I'm working on now. But you can stop me if you want to. But I feel like my childhood trauma, like listening to preachers say, if you do this and this gonna happen, and you do this and it's gonna happen. And I did all that. I did everything they told me don't do because, I mean, listen, I'm from the hood and sin is the norm. Like everything that's quote unquote bad is the norm, almost good. And I felt like because I lived that life and that was my norm, that a lot of my illnesses or physical situations was God punishing me. So that's that whole Revelation song,
I don't believe there's two ways I would look at it. And I'm not trying to put anything on you.
Oh, no, you good. You good. Remember, I said that was what I was believing.
Okay.
Yeah, that was,
Okay. Yeah, because I think of the biblical story of Job, right?
Yeah.
Job went through all this stuff. What was it? I forget the exact skin.
Yeah, I know he lost everything.
He lost everything.
Everything.
But he was favored by God. You look at the story of Jesus, Jesus on the cross, said, why have you forsaken me? God tries his closest people. If you believe that, if you believe that, we all go through stuff,
right?
But the people closest to God will go through the most. I believe that.
I believe that too. And again, like back to the music, I put it in my music. I put it in there raw, And you know, I feel like sometimes it's a good thing, but then when I think of like some of my brat peers, they don't go as far as I go. And I wonder if that's sometimes I wonder if that's a detriment to me. But I should say I used to. Now I realize that's what makes Kastaway Kastaway, because I'm a go there.
Right.
I'm gonna go there, and I'm still gonna be a dope MC on top of it. Like, you're not just gonna get me sounding hopeless. You're gonna get some dope ass rhymes on top of that. And I've come to accept that. You know, I've come to accept that that's my musical calling, is to do it that way. Yeah.
We have a song called Love Hard, Still Fight.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And the second verse, you speak about the hypocrisy of people who call themselves Christians, but they hate Black people. How do you think those people justify being followers of Christ, yet dismissing his tenets?
I have no clue. I'm gonna keep it all the way real. I just don't understand the way their mind works. I will sit here and give you my reasons, but I might end up contradicting myself. Like, you know, I feel like some people are, I mean, we all have our mental, you know, challenges and our idiosyncrasies about ourselves. But I truly believe that those people are mentally ill. They are mentally ill. And the older I get, and people may disagree with me, I'm starting to look at them the way I would look at children in a special needs class.
Okay.
And I'm not being funny.
Right.
But certain people have challenges that are mentally so deep that they can't even help themselves. And I'm starting to look at them that way.
Okay.
So with that in mind, I want to offer them grace. But what makes it challenging for me is that the power that they have can hurt me. And they don't extend that same grace for me. So you see the kind of dilemma I'm stuck in. It's like, man, it's about to get wrong, but you motherfuckers are sick. You are sick. You are absolutely sick if you read in the Bible and you picking up that you should oppress people of color. You are mentally sick if you read in the Bible and it's telling you take all the money and leave motherfuckers out here to die poor. Like, something's wrong. Like, where in the Bible does it say that? Can y'all point that out to me? And their churches, they're like mega. We don't even gotta go with mega churches. We can just go to the suburbs, where if you bring up any kind of racial inequity or equality, them motherfuckers frown at you. They look at you like you crazy. And it's like, let's go back to the cliche, what would Jesus do? Because that ain't how Jesus would run this. So who are you worshiping? What are you worshiping?
At some point, white supremacy and Christianity kind of got intertwined.
Yeah.
And that's where we live. That's what this is.
Yes.
That's the Western civilization. It's like the KRS-One lyric where he says, believers and Christians never really heard Christ. If they did, the Black man never would have lived this life. It's
oh man, what a line, right?
It's true.
What a line.
He justified slavery.
Yeah.
Through the Bible.
Through the Bible.
How?
Because they use Bible scriptures. They use Bible scriptures, and it's like, what?
All of these people, these Trump people, they are alleged Christians. They hate gay people. They hate Muslims. There's so much hate. They hate brown people, but they're Christians, right?
So, I know we focusing on this album, right? But okay. I'm working on a new project, and I'm gonna just let you know now. There's a song in there called "God Is Love." Where I get onto that.
Okay.
I talk about that. I even say the line where how we reading the same scripture but not on the same page. Like, how? You know what I mean? So, we can talk about my next project a little bit later, but this stuff, it really resonates with me. But also, let's go back to that love hard, still fight. I want to give a shout out to the Europeans, specifically white people who are true allies. Like my godfather, I might have talked about this before. He's a white dude. He's been in the hood for 30-some years, genuinely being a neighbor, not coming to what's that word? When it's not to be a missionary type person, not to try to convert people. He's being a neighbor, a friend that became family to so many Black people. That's the way it should work. And I gave a shout out to them because it's something that's really, 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 that's really for us, right? So I want to see the good and bad in everything. And there are some good white people out there. You know what I mean? We know some, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, of course.
But right now, I ain't gonna act like I'm not mad. I'm mad, not even mad, I'm hurt.
Yeah.
I'm hurt, yo. Like, I lost friends over this. Like, friends over this. Like, I have white friends who hurt me when they don't understand what I'm talking about. Like, when I'm talking about the Trump shit, or I'm talking about culture appropriation and all these things. It's like it flies over their head. I'm like, how the fuck you an ally and this shit don't bother you? You know, and it's people I don't even speak to because of that.
You know what, man? I will say this. Man, I don't want to get too personal.
This is supposed to be an interview. We just having a conversation, right?
Hey, man, that's what it is. We two West Side guys.
Exactly.
I don't know how to say it without getting too personal. I'll say this. I lost someone. I'll say this. I lost someone close to me years ago, and I felt like nobody cared. My father passed away. My father passed away, and I felt like people didn't care. Like the people who surrounded me, the people who I thought loved me, were just like going on with life while I'm grieving.
Right. Sorry to hear that.
Thank you. But it really messed me up, and I see people close to me like, nothing changed for them.
Right.
It was getting to me, and my cousin said to me, he's like, they're not in your shoes. They can't,
they can't empathize. Yeah.
I mean, they can empathize. They know your father. They love your father, but it ain't like how you love your father. And it hit me. So I'm like, he's right. So I would use that in the same way to a degree. White people in America can be allies, are allies. It's many of them, but they can't walk in our shoes.
Oh no, and I'm not expecting them to. Let's get that clear. I'm not expecting them to.
Right, but go ahead.
No. I just want to throw that out there. Like with friends I lost, I'm not expecting them to. But don't ask me something like, why does it bother you?
Well, yeah, that's kind of ridiculous.
Don't ask me nothing like that, or don't say something like, oh, that really disturbs you. Yeah, it does. What do you mean? Like, what? You bugging? Like, and I have one friend who told me, what are you angry about? You're educated, you're successful, you're this, you're that. What held you back? Nothing held you back, so you shouldn't be angry. Man, thank God it was social distance, because it would have been a straight eye jamming right there.
You know what, though? I think, and this is important, Western civilization, white society, America, whatever you want to call it, we think me. not we.
Exactly. Collectivism versus individualism.
Individualism. This is
Yep.
just survival of the fittest, capitalism, all
Yep.
that. You think about yourself. So I don't think a lot of white people get like, hey, I'm good. But guess what? A whole bunch of people who look like me are going through whatever. They don't get that. They don't have that same empathy.
Right.
That's that. Yeah, I'm glad you didn't hit him, but that's
No. I can't hit. Let me tell you something. I can't hit people. And you know what? Truthfully, I'm a loving guy. Like I'm a truly loving guy. It's just, and I feel like as much as the media portrays us to be thugs, gangsters, rapists, drug addicts, yo, Black people, Caribbean people, like Latino people, we mad loving people.
Oh, yeah.
Like we loving people, we forgiving people. But no one wants to highlight that. Because, I mean, even if you look in the music industry, for instance, Justin Bieber can have a video released of him saying the most foulest shit about Black people. We forgave him and gave him Peaches, which is one of his dopest records, with 2 Black people on it, 2 prominent Black R&B singers, and they black. They not Al B. Sure Black. They Black like me. You feel me?
Well, I didn't forgive him, but go ahead.
But that's what I'm saying. Like we let it rock. Let it rock.
In general, well, I mean, yeah, they like to paint Black people as monsters. Like they focus on the little criminal element and not the. It's like I always tell people, like where I grew up on, West Side Chicago, and it's rough.
Yeah,
but the block I grew up on, it's just families. It's just people, and that's the majority of the blocks. It's like,
but I'll admit this. That's how my block was when I was growing up, but I seen it change for the worse as I got older.
Well, you're talking about the deterioration of some families.
Yeah, the families, man. It's
like talking about drugs.
Yeah, man.
I mean, drugs make everything worse.
They do.
So, that's a whole other issue. We can go into how they let that shit ride, because I seen police across the. Well, I won't say across. On my block, there was a drug house.
Yeah.
One dope house on the block. And the police would come. They knew where the dope house was.
Mm-hmm.
They would come, take the dude's money, and leave. They didn't arrest him. They didn't get them off the block. They took their money. So they're okay with people shooting at them, fiends coming to the, you know what I mean? They're okay with this crime going on as long as they get their piece.
Right. Crime
that happens in a lot of places.
Yeah.
Are they really policing? But that I don't want to get into that. But I'm saying,
Listen, this is crazy how this interview is supposed to be about my album, where we talk about everything. But you know what's crazy? This conversation.
Yeah.
And I hate to sound like my album is like the greatest or it's that deep, but my album is all of this.
Yeah.
All of this is what makes Kastaway.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
No, it's what makes Kastaway. Whether I address it directly, or not, it's all what makes Kastaway. The race, the crime, the love, the spirituality, it makes Kastaway. And one of my goals, because I know I come with so much, is to provide a happy balance and to try to not make it so painful that the music becomes indigestible.
Yeah. No, you definitely do that. It's not heavy. It's not a heavy listen.
I try that on purpose. Purpose.
Yeah, it's not. Yeah, it's a lot of it's upbeat, up tempo. Like it's you definitely achieved that.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I want to speak about the song Institution. You speak on real life challenges that so many kids face just trying to make it to and from
Yeah.
school.
Yeah. So
It's a song I wanted to say because this one hit home.
really,
It's a song I can unfortunately relate to. Uh, you say, how can I focus on a book? I'm trying to dodge the Reaper's hooks. It's true because like learning is the last thing you think about when your life's on the line. And I don't think a lot of people recognize that. Many years ago, maybe 25 years ago, I read a story about how kids in Cabrini Green had the same mentality of Vietnam soldiers, Vietnam vets. And I wish I could find that article today. I believe it,
right.
traumatized. Why do
Right.
you think the circumstances that youth in the inner city are surrounded by gets dismissed by people both in and outside of the community?
Man, I wish I could think of one solid answer, like just one answer. But I got a few.
Mhm.
When I think of people outside of the community, I want to honestly say they don't care. But the reason why they don't care is because they don't have to. Like, why think about a community that you never have to interact with? You don't have to, right? Like, I have a friend who is a true ally. I love him. I even call him uncle sometimes. He's an older white guy. He's admitted that he never thought about the struggles that people in the inner city, specifically Black folks in this case, face. He would have that same mentality of, okay, why don't they get a job and then move out? But then when he finally interacted with us, he's seen that wasn't the case. Like, it's a lot going on. So I think part of the reason why some of them don't care is because they don't have to deal with it. Like, they have the privilege to just live their life and just go and just do what they want. You know what I mean? And then there's the darker side to it where some of them don't care. Like, they want us to kill each other off. And you know what I mean? Like, I think of like how the neighborhoods are gentrifying. Man, they would love to take all this property from us, man. These houses are made of stone and brick. It's like, yo, let them Black people, or in Humboldt Park's case, Puerto Rican people, kill themselves. And then we just come swooping right up. And then it's ours again. And so those are two things. Those are the two things I think of. And as far as people in the community, I think some people are so traumatized to the point where, like, they can only think about what's going on inside their own mind, right? Like, I think of damn, this is so personal. I love my mom. I love my mom. My mom was always in survival's mode. So she can never really, really, really understand or have the empathy that I needed growing up. You know what I mean? Like, she was just trying to survive, and I'm trying to look for my mom to understand, but she couldn't, because she'd been through so much on her own, going through so much on her own, trying to figure that out. And then I think of the larger community, like people who are just like her. Everybody's trying to figure their own shit out. Everybody. So I don't think that they don't care. It's just that, man, we got so much going on. Like, how can we when we all got our individual shit? And it's heavy. It's heavy.
Your life sounds like mine. My mother, it's the same thing. It was like she comes from she's one of 10 siblings, right? So she grew up in extreme poverty. So
Mhm.
so her whole thing was take care of my kids.
Yeah,
So it was just work, 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 and
that's my mom. Yep.
and kids need more than that. I know that sounds bad, like, but kids need more personal stuff and personal stuff.
Mhm.
I think that I don't want to say that either.
This is a tough conversation, isn't it? Right?
It is
I feel kind of bad that we went there. Like I was hoping to have a light interview and we chilling, you know what I mean? But I'm
no, this is good. This is good. But I also think as a woman,
yeah.
she didn't
I was
get
gonna yeah.
she didn't women don't have the same
Thought process.
obstacles I was gonna say as men do. Like they don't, that's not an issue for I'll never forget when I was a freshman in high school.
Mm-hmm.
And all these girls knew me, right? Like all these girls, the girls knew me, and they would say, "Hey, the seniors, they're gonna get you. the upperclassmen are gonna get you." I'm like, "What?" They're like, "Watch out," because the girls were all messing with the upperclassmen, right?
Right.
And I was just cool with them, and they were like, "Watch out today, they're gonna get you." What?
Right.
But that's just I think, I don't know if that's high school or Chicago or what, but it's like, hey, I don't like that dude. We're gonna jump him after school.
Right.
So
I wonder too if that's Chicago, but because Chicago is weird like that.
very weird.
We're weird like that. Like people think I'd be tweaking when I say like you can walk down the street and somebody punch you just because they don't like you and they don't even have to know you.
Yeah.
Like it's totally weird like that.
I seen it, dude, when I was my freshman year, which I only lasted my freshman year, barely. They beat this other freshman up, like threw him in the mud, and everybody pissed on him. And I'm like, wow, what did this guy do?
Right. And that right there is traumatizing in itself, right?
Yeah.
And that, you mentioned that story. That happened to me when I was younger, right? I didn't get jumped, but this is what inspired institution. So I'm walking home from school. My school was a block away from my house where I lived at. I'm walking home with my friend, and literally another one of my friends, they come to us, speak to me like, yo, what up? And then just bing, my other homie. Now, mind you, we all cool. At least I thought they was cool. You feel me?
Yeah.
And it was like everybody from, and I'm trying to keep things nameless because this is real. Everybody from the friend who took the first hit blocked, just jumped this dude. And it was brutal. I was traumatized. I didn't understand what I was feeling at the time, but it was trauma and I didn't get it. And who could I go to talk about it? You can't tell a school because you a snitch.
Right.
You can't tell your mama because I ain't really talked to my mom about shit anyway. You know what I mean? Like, I just didn't. And my mom is a sweetheart. She's a nice person. She did a lot for us. A whole lot. Like, my mom was dope. I'm grateful to have a mom. I couldn't talk to her about shit like that. So literally, I found, listen, I'm so traumatized. I'm playing with a box cutter now. Like, I'm so used to it. I keep them around because I carried them to school. Literally, I had them in my shoe. I had one in my shoe. I had one in my book bag just because of that.
Yeah.
I didn't want that to be me. So I'm like, in my mind, and this is 5th grade, so I'm 10 years old. I'm like, yo, whoever coming for me, they getting cut straight up. Straight up, because I saw that. And then you mentioned Cabrini Green. This also inspired that story. So on my block, we had a family move in from Cabrini Green, and we would run them out. So this one girl, she got jumped by some girls, and it was so bad. Like they dragged her for a whole block. It was bad. Like I ain't never seen nothing like it. Nothing like it. And as kids, we entertain when we see the fights, but this shit felt different.
Yeah.
Like she had to move back to Cabrini Green. And all of that stuff stays with you, right? And I realized, again, this is another thing being revealed to me in this album. I'm growing up and I have all these deep-seated traumas that I suppressed, and they will come back and they blow up in your face.
Mm-hmm.
And all this was happening to me during COVID. It was just all my traumas was just blowing up in my face.
Mm-hmm.
Suppressed traumas that I could never understand or never really talk about. You know, I would find myself straight up crying, like bawling in tears, like, I don't understand why I'm in so much pain. I always felt some kind of pain, but I was in pain, like deep emotional pain. It'd be days, I'm not lying, and I'm not ashamed to say, I would be bawling in tears. You know, it'd be a mix of trauma, survivor's guilt, you know, already trying to figure out why I'm going through what I'm going through. I would just be bawling like in tears. And you know, I'm glad it's happened, because it's really making me like read more. And I ain't talking about just the Bible. I'm talking about like other books. And I feel after the album, a few months after the surgery, I feel like starting to feel a lot better. Starting to understand things a little bit more, you know? So I ain't expected to be this heavy. I swear I didn't. I swear. So I hope I'm not ruining this interview.
Man, this is,
yeah.
right. I mean, it's a real conversation about real life things. That's
Yeah.
what people want to hear, man. People always say, for some reason, I got down a Tupac and Biggie wormhole recently, and like people, a lot of the like, I'm on the fence. I wouldn't call myself like a backpack, underground. Like I kind of am, but I kind of listen to other things too. But a lot of the backpack crew in the '90s were like Tupac, like he can't rap, but I always loved him.
Right.
But he wasn't like Nas, you know what I mean? He wasn't like Rakim, or he wasn't rapping like them dudes, technically.
Right.
But what he did was bring people into his life.
Mm-hmm.
He told stories. He had passion. You could hear it in his voice. And
yeah, man. I didn't understand it until I got older. Like I really didn't, because check it out. I grew up in the hood. So in the hood, we listened to everything, but we didn't listen to a lot of backpack rappers. I was the only one who liked Common, Slug Village, and all that. But I like my street shit too. I like Jay. I like Beanie Siegel. I like DMX. And I hung around some people who were kind of sort of Tupac haters. And they were more into Biggie.
Right.
But my family, you can't tell them nothing about Tupac. But as I got older and I became just a more mature man, it's like, man, this dude Tupac is different. I'd rather listen to him than any of that backpack bullshit any day. Because for me, and this is why I appreciate you interviewing me, right? I always felt like as an artist, I'm confusing. Because I can rap with the best of the backpackers when I want to. But I choose not to, because what am I giving the world by rapping about how good I rap? That's me though. I'm not judging anyone else who do that. Right. But I just feel like with my life, with my calling, what I've been through, if I was to hold all that back and make an album just about rapping, which is coming, by the way, because I like that. Don't get it twisted. I do like that. But when it's a Kastaway solo record, I gotta get into it. It's just me. It's just me.
Well, that was my point. Tupac has been gone almost 26 years now.
Yeah.
He's gonna live forever. Yeah. Because he touched people, because of the shit he talked about. And it's the same for Marvin Gaye. It's the same, it's all those people who were bigger than themselves. It wasn't about them. It was about the world, the community, our people. So
you touched on Marvin Gaye.
yeah.
He is one of, you know who, and I'm gonna tell you who influenced my life in music theory. I'm gonna tell you right now. Marvin Gaye, Curtis Mayfield, Mary J. Blige, D'Angelo, DMX,
Okay.
Tupac, and a little bit of Jay-Z.
Okay.
But I was really heavy, like especially during the shutdown, I was all into Curtis Mayfield and Marvin Gaye. That's all. It just hit me, man. It just hit me, you know. Like, and even though I don't speak Spanish, a lot of Ruben Blades, because my Puerto Rican pops would translate that shit for me.
Okay.
And because that type of stuff, those stories, that real meaningful shit, that's what gets me. I do like the fun shit too, though. I'm a fun person,
Right?
But I'm like, yo, I want to make music like these guys, like them. You know what I mean? So,
and that's why it's important, because you never know who you're going to touch.
Right.
So you got to continue to do what you do. And this interview, somebody might see it, it might hit them. You know what I mean? Something you said, something I said. It could, you know, it's important. All this stuff is important to talk about. I always tell people this story, like 1988, the first episode of Yo MTV Raps. And Boogie Down Productions, My Philosophy was the first video they showed. And I don't know if you ever seen the video or remember.
Oh, I've seen the video. I'm a student. Like I was born in 88, but I was around a lot of older people. Like my sisters are 10 years older than me, 10 years, 11 years older than me. And my cousins, they all older than me. So that's everything that they was playing, like DLC and NWA and Boogie Down Production. So I grew up around that. That's why I feel like I'm so fortunate. Like I'm fortunate. I'm not one of these rappers who picked up the mic and just thought it was cool to put words together. Like I grew up in this shit. So my sister, like, she don't play. Like she had me on my shit. Like she like, if you gonna rhyme, you better know your shit.
That's amazing. That's amazing. But KRS, the BDP video was on, and in the background, these are pictures of Malcolm X. In black and white. And I was like, who is that man? And my whole family's watching this together, right? It's like rap videos on TV for the first time. And my mother's like, you don't know who Malcolm X is? I'm like, no.
Yeah.
I didn't know. And she like shamed me. Like, you didn't tell me. You know, I had no idea who Malcolm X was. So I was so ashamed. I went to the library and I got the autobiography of Malcolm X. Changed my life. In so many ways, it changed my life. To this day, it's my favorite book. And hip hop did that. It started from hip hop. And listening to KRS-One, listening to Public Enemy, all those groups at that time influenced me. Even Ghetto Boys, but Public Enemy, Big Daddy Kane, Eric B. and Rakim, Boogie Down Productions.
My mom, if you ask her what rapper she like, Big Daddy Kane, Heavy D, and then later in the 90s, she ended up liking like some of Biggie stuff, but she liked Jay-Z because of me. I played it all around the house. And we was just on the phone earlier today, and she was like, your sister was crazy about Nas. Like, so, but my mom, she nicknamed me Heavy D. That was my nickname growing up, but until it became Debo. For all the wrong reasons. For all the wrong reasons. But yeah, man, I appreciate you saying that. Like, this has been on my mind all week, right? Like hip hop, blues, country, R&B. I just want us to protect our culture, our art. And it's so hard. Like, God forgive me. I love some white artists. I do. I like Robin Thicke a lot. I'm not even gonna front. I got his vinyl in the joint, right? I just feel like when I see like Iggy Azaleas and the Mike Studs and all of them, it's like, get them out of here, please, because you know they don't appreciate what this is. They don't appreciate what this come from. And I just want people to appreciate where it comes from. That's all.
Bro, I don't even think that's racial. It's a lot of black people, Latino
Who don't?
people
Who
who don't
don't?
appreciate it either.
Who don't?
We got to get them all out. But you know what?
I feel like with black people though, like I think of the kids who rap now, right?
Right.
They weren't fortunate enough to be raised like me. They were raised in much worse situations, but they didn't have an adult giving them guidance, right?
Mhm.
But if they did, they would rap about something different. I truly believe that. It might still be ignorant to a degree, but the respect to be there, right? They wouldn't say wild shit like Tupac is boring. You know what I mean? Like they wouldn't disrespect it. Even if they ain't like the music, they would respect the legacy, right? So I don't know. A lot of that stuff is weighing on my mind, and I'm creating while that stuff is on my mind, which is both good and bad because I'm gonna say some shit and it's gonna be dope on the record, but it's bad because it's like I'm tired of feeling sad.
Yeah.
I'm tired of feeling angry and shit, but we make sure it's angry and fun to listen to, you know.
Okay. Where does My Life in Music rank with the other other series of volumes of My Life in Music?
I explain it like this. The first one, I'll admit, I was I was really heavy into alcohol back then. Now I don't even drink. So it was really a drunken haze for me back then. Like I don't remember making much of it. I remember being in the studio and just blacking out and just drinking to the point where I don't even know how I was able to see the microphone. So I don't really like that album no more. It got some joints, but I don't like it. The second one, I was in my let's have some fun phase, right? I was going to the clubs, but I was also like kind of growing out of them at the same time too. But I was going to some nice places. I was getting into different kinds of music. I was a little bit more happy, you can say. But this one, I just feel like this one was just real. Like this one was raw. The first one was raw too, but I just feel like this was raw. I wasn't focusing on no club joints. I was sober. You know, I am sober. I felt like the storytelling was on point because there's a lot of stories in this album. Like I was weaving in and out of storytelling. I wanted to show that skill. And also like on the first My Life in Music, I was really focused also, like there's songs where I wanted to rapidy rap. This probably had one. So I would say this is the best, like overall out of the whole series. Like when it comes to content, structure, flow, like especially when it comes to content, storytelling, creativity, this is the best. But 2 got some songs that just feel good, right? Like 2 is that one you want to play in your car and you want to stun on somebody. You pull up and you want to just stun on somebody. But let's get it clear. My lyrical content is never ever pop like that. Like I'm not a pop star. But I am Black. We dance on beat. We enjoy beats. So that was real important for me. But this album, man, you know, I put it on vinyl. And I got to get you a copy too, by the way. It's one of those you got to sit down and listen to it albums. And I love those albums. I feel like those are the albums that last longer. So this would definitely be the top of the series. I thought you was going to ask where does it rank in my entire catalog. There's two albums that's like, this one and the LP Loan, it's like, in my top 2.
So that's the most recent stuff.
Yeah.
Before we close on, you said there was one rapidy rap song on the album. Which one was it?
The Throne.
I knew it. Here's why I asked you that. It's my favorite song. It's my favorite song. I'm a fan. I'm a fan of rapidy rap. Like
I am too, though.
I get irritated when people go, "This person's rapping about rap." Yeah, That's what LL Cool J did. Like that's
Yeah,
what
I feel like that's still an important part of the culture, no
Very.
matter what. If you an MC, whether you know, Fabulous or Skyzoo, you gotta have that record to show that, listen, I am technically skilled.
Yep.
I am technically skilled. And that was one for me because I do feel like I'm underrated. Part of it is my fault. But when you put me against whoever's popping, they may do certain technical things better than me. But line for line, no fucking way. Not a lot of them. No way. No way. They ain't saying what I'm saying in these songs. And then if you listen to The Throne, it's still that real talk element in there. Like, because that's me. That's me. And I feel like that's what makes me one of the best. Is because when I rap, even when I'm talking shit, it's real. It's real. And I was telling somebody, I was telling an engineer once, and he asked me, like, where do I think I rank amongst like this independent underground thing? And I said, I don't compare myself to nobody no more. Because I feel like when God is my ghostwriter, who fucking with me? Who? Because I can't compete against no one if he is literally picking up my pen and saying, Castaway, write this. I'm rapping with freaking nerve pains in my throat. It hurts to rap. So you better know whatever comes out of my mouth is going to be fire. It gotta be. I can't afford for it to be whack. I'm not going through all this pain for nothing. And it's not, again, I'm not trying to make it seem like me against them. I want to be with the Marvin Gayes. But I want to be like one of them that can rap. So you know how some people say Tupac wasn't a good technical rapper. And again, I will never be Tupac. Never, ever, 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 ever. But imagine if we can get a Tupac who can technically rap on a Wu-Tang type level. You know what I mean? What if I can accomplish that? You know what I mean? That'd be crazy.
I know what you're saying, but I think it's false that he wasn't a great technical rapper.
I think I also agree with you, but we know what the perception is.
Right.
Amongst a certain audience. So let's get that clear.
Yeah, definitely. And
that's
again,
not what I think.
I wouldn't like rank him with Nas or anybody, but he was very technically proficient. I didn't like how he leaned on the stretching his vowels and stuff. The Hennessy, man, you know, like that stuff.
And people bring that up against him.
Yeah, I don't like it. It was overdone.
But I could tell you this. When you think of beats, right? When you think of beats, certain beats are harder to rap to than others. Mm-hmm. So I was listening to All Eyes on Me, and this is the most random song, but the song with Danny Boy, who's also from my block. If you really want to fuck with me, I'm ready. That beat is funky, and it is not easy to rap to. Cannabis cannot rap to that beat. He can't. And you know what's crazy? Y'all about to shoot me for this. This is why I don't punish or get at rappers like a Nicki Minaj. Because I feel like being able to rap on those type of beats are not easy. They're not easy. Y'all may not like what she's talking about, but get on that beat and try to ride it with them different flows and go out in and out of flows the way she's doing it. That's not easy. So you could be the most lyrical miracle person ever. Cool. But can you rap on beat? And I'm black and I need some rhythm. Like I need some rhythm with my shit. You feel me? Can you do that? And if you can't, cool, but don't criticize a person who can. Like look at that as a skill. So I don't want to sound arrogant. Please forgive me. Please forgive me. But when you think of Shine, one of them beats, not that easy to rap to. Or even Frenemies. That flow is not easy, even though you hear a lot of people using the triplet flow. That triplet flow ain't easy, and it was the most physical, painful song I ever had to make because it is hurting. And that song was inspired by, you would not guess who, but Eve. Eve. Out of all people, Eve. She had, on her first album, she had a skit called My Enemies. And the beat was so cold, her hook, the flow was cold. I'm like, damn, why she only make that a skit? Why she didn't? And me going through what I'm going through in the community, I already had them verses. I had them verses in my head for a minute. I'm like, I need a hook. I straight up borrowed part of the hook from her. I ain't gonna lie about it, but I wanted to be out there because you know why? Because I don't like this. Like you said, there's a certain crowd who don't respect a certain mainstream. And then also, where's the respect for the women? Like, she was one of them who was telling us stuff. And to see how she's looked at now, to me, is just whack. Like, yo, put some respect on her name. Like, Love is Blind is one of the most important songs ever, because I watched women go through that type of domestic abuse. You know what I mean? And as much as I love, Jean Grey, where are those songs for my females and my sisters in the hood? Now, if that's not your calling, cool. But like you and I both said, like, where's the stuff for the people who are in the struggle, like, who need that? And I don't know, man. I don't know. This music is a spiritual thing for me. You're making me mad, man, because I want to have a fun interview. I want to crack the joke.
It's not fun. We having fun.
It's fun. It is fun. I just hope that people don't look at me like I'm this angry or sad person all day. And I'm this person that I do think a lot, but I don't want to come off as a preachy person neither. You're not
giving off none of those vibes, man. You're just telling your story.
But and listen, man, I'm going through a lot, but I'm also surviving a lot. And whenever I get on the mic, with the exception of this new project coming this summer, I'm gonna tell my story. But this project coming this summer is definitely for the Rapidy Rap fans who love the 1992 Gangstar sound type of thing. It's all that. It's just all straight boom bap. It ain't even got no hooks. It's just all scratches. It ain't no hooks.
Now you're speaking to me.
It ain't got no hooks. Yo, I can't wait for you to hear it. It's coming though. It's coming.
I'm excited.
I can send it to you in advance if you want it.
Oh, please do. I'll
send it to you in advance. It's called The Art of Tradition, meaning we going straight beats, rhymes, turntables, no hooks, no R&B, nothing, no bounce, no. It's just straight rhymes all the way through.
Okay.
So I definitely send it to you.
That's you're catering to me. I appreciate that. The old dudes need something.
I love that too. Like, I guess what I'm screaming for is balance.
Yeah.
What I'm screaming for is balance, right? Like, balance. We all live different walks of life, right? I feel like there should be something for everybody, and we shouldn't be arguing about what's better, what's not better, but we do know what has the longer lifespan.
Without a doubt.
We know that. So
Bob Marley will live forever.
Exactly.
Marvin Gaye, Stevie Wonder,
forever.
Tupac will live forever.
Ever.
It's there's a reason.
Yeah.
John Lennon. Live
like,
forever.
not to brag, but it sounds so arrogant. There was a list put out by Precision Pressing, which is one of the biggest pressing plants of vinyl in North America. And they put out who they thought had the best albums of the year. Okay. And they put like the repress of Marvin Gaye was going on, John Lennon's solo album. And they threw me up there with them. And I'm like, yo, that did something for me, because I'm not making it on these rap lists because I'm not popular or I'm not paying for blogs. I ain't doing none of that because this is just me. I'm my own machine. I ain't got the money to be paying everybody for that. But to get this with them, that just made me feel like, okay, Dominique, God is telling you, don't worry about what they got and what they do. Worry about what you do. I gave you this lane and you stay in it. And the minute you focus on what they do, you're gonna have an accident because you can't be riding like them. You stay in your lane. And I feel like my lane is my life's in music. And I can get in a lane with the rapidy rap stuff, but it ain't gonna happen a lot. I'm sorry, I know that's what you love, but it ain't gonna happen a lot. But like with the current project I'm working on, it's literally tentatively titled Scars because of the scar that's literally on my head. And we gonna get into life after the surgery and discovering things about that. And it's not gonna be as dark as My Life in Music 3, but it's definitely it's gonna be real. It's gonna be Kastaway. You know how I do the real talk with the stories and all of that. It's gonna be a lot of real talk, but I wanted to offer hope. That's what I want at the end of the day, is to offer hope. So yeah.
All right. Kastaway. Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me, as crazy as I am.
No doubt, man.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you, bro.
Yeah.
Peace.
Peace, man.
What we talking about? Max down rock it, y'all. Fino, what it is. I think y'all forgot who I am for a minute.
Put me in the mix,
Y'all forgot what I used to do.
Showing cats how it's done, cause
Let me
it's
do
the
it like
verbal
this.
combat
Yeah.
position.
Okay, king of intelligent fly rap, that's my trap. Wholesaling flow by the kilo, you push the dime back. Lines get more potent as time pass. Rewind that, get hit with the slug when my mind blast. My rhyme draft better than most finals. I'm the son that calls the title. The way we worm in the apple and the stream of my rivals. To dream is homicidal. If you coming from my homeland, it's probably why I won't sleep till I'm an old man. But for now I'm an omen. Gotta listen just to notice if I'm a sign of danger. Come to put the world on notice. Chicago where it's told us, home of some of the voters.